You're listening to The Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the latest and greatest in sports as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, sports fans! Welcome to another edition of the Jacob Valk Show. I am Jacob Valk, and there's a lot of baseball to get to, a lot of college basketball to get to. May do another Mount Rushmore for you. Gonna be a big show, but I have to start with the revised Mookie Betts trade, and it seems like this one is near the finish line. I'd be very surprised if it fell apart again. The trade is Betts, Price, and $48 million to the Dodgers. That $48 million will cover half of Price's remaining owed money. And the Red Sox are getting Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and Connor Wong. In case you misheard, that second guy's name is Jeter Downs, meaning that it is very possible that for the next 15 years or so, the Boston Red Sox could have a shortstop or a second baseman, scouts are split, with the name of Jeter. And without ever seeing the guy play for the Red Sox, I already hate him. No, I actually don't. I actually think he's going to be a good player in the next level. Before I get to Downs and Wong, I just want to focus on one other element to this deal, and that is that the Red Sox got a better haul. There's no question that they did. Instead of getting 2 top 5 prospects, the Red Sox got 2 top 5 or maybe top 10 prospects. The Dodgers farm system is just so stacked. And a top 15 prospect. I got some heat for saying that Verdugo's a prospect. I understand that he's technically not, but we still don't know who the kid is. He's only played in 158 games total in 3 years. He played 106 last year. Alright, last year was his first full season, if I can call it that. I understand that he's not a prospect. Alright, I get that. If you like the word young gun better, you can, but, you know, Pete Alonso, I still feel like, is a little bit of an unknown there. He's a little bit of a prospect. You know, we don't know what we're going to get from him for the future. He's not going to hit 53 home runs again, I can tell you that. We don't know what Verdugo's going to do. That's my whole point in calling him a prospect, but you're right that it's technically the wrong word. Look, I'm not going to extol Verdugo's virtues again. The only thing that I'll say is that while the Red Sox got a better haul, it does not excuse trading Mookie Betts. It does not excuse trading one of the 5 or 10 best players in baseball. I don't care who they got from the Dodgers. Verdugo, Lux, Keibert Ruiz, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, whoever. It doesn't matter. This is Mookie freaking Betts we're talking about here. yeah, maybe this is an easier trade for Bloom to sell his fan base on. There will be some Red Sox fans that'll like that they got Jeter Downs for no other reason than his first name is Jeter. There will be some Red Sox fans that will find it difficult to root for a guy with the name of Jeter. But, look, this is an easier trade to sell your fan base on. I understand that. It's still not a good one. You still lost it. There are people trying to say that the Red Sox won it, that they saved face. No! Did they save face? I mean, look, it seems like they're going to get the deal done. They got the guy who they really wanted in Verdugo. It's clear that they didn't want Gratterall that much. I mean, look, his medicals didn't scare the Dodgers. I understand that the Red Sox had more riding on it, so you want to be 100% sure that Gratterall's medicals are perfect. But, yeah, he had Tommy John surgery. There's risk there. He's never going to be, Brad Radke. I never thought he was a starter. Never. So, look. Kudos to the Red Sox and the Dodgers for being motivated enough to get this deal done. There were a lot of people that were ticked off that it was taking this long, and you can include me in that group. I thought Tony Clark was 100% right by imploring the teams to get the deal done. There are a lot of people that just focus on these guys as pieces of meat, and they're not. They have families, they have feelings, and it's very difficult for a guy like Price, who probably thought that he was going to spend the rest of his career in Boston, to now pack things up and move across the country. Now look, he's probably really happy that he has a much, much, much better chance of getting a second ring, but it's probably hard on his family. And it's tough to get traded. Usually, and of course there are trade requests, but usually, players don't like to be traded. They don't take it as this team wanted you. They take it as this team didn't want you. A guy like Price 2 years ago was an integral part of the Red Sox World Series win. He has a bad year last year. He got hurt. And evidently that was all that Chaim Bloom wanted to see. He didn't want to give Price another chance. He just wanted to get him out of Boston. If you're Price, you gotta be thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute, hold on. 2 years ago, I brought you guys a World Series, and now you're trading me? Go screw yourself. I mean, he'll never say that, but that's what I would be thinking. Look, I understand that that's the business they signed up for, and it is a business, okay? This isn't a game. This is a business. And unless you have a no trade clause, yeah, you can be traded like that. There's no loyalty in sports. It can change in a heartbeat. 1 year the team loves you, the next they're willing to ship you off for peanuts. It happens all the time. It's a cutthroat business out there, man. It really, really is. I do want to talk about the two new guys in this deal, Downs and Wong. I'll start with Downs. He's a 5-tool player. There are some people who think that he can't stick it short. I think he can. But even then, if you put him at second, he'll do really, really well at second. He's a 5-tool player, like I said. And he was actually a guy who I was really, really high on in the Dodgers system. You know, I was following him just because his name was Jeter. And look, he spent the bulk of last year in Rancho Cucamonga in the California League, High A. I understand he didn't set the world on fire there. It's not like he was hitting 400 like Vlad Guerrero, but you really can't read too much into minor league stats. The only thing I'll say is his bat is there. There were some people that were worried about it. Hopefully what he did in Tulsa in 12 games shuts you up. He had 333. There's no reason to think that we can't see him this year in Boston. And it's going to be really, really weird seeing a Jeter playing for the Red Sox. I'm telling you, I'm going to hate the guy before he ever steps foot on the diamond. And Connor Wong has a bit of an attitude issue. He proved that he was ready to go up to the next level. He was another guy who was at Rancho Cucamonga. He had proven that he was ready to go up to Tulsa, but the Dodgers just had so many catchers that he was blocked. He was disinterested. I know that there were a lot of people that were souring on him in the Dodgers organization. But then when he went to Tulsa, he raked. He had 349. I understand minor league stats, especially Double A, you can't read too much into it, but it's still a good indicator of how talented the guy is with the bat. You don't hit over 300 by accident. I don't care what league it is. It proves that you have talent. The biggest issue with Wong is going to be where you play him. Because he does not do a good job of blocking balls. He does not have a great arm. I don't think I see him as a catcher in the next level. Now, he's played all over the diamond in his brief professional career. He's actually played every position but pitcher. Now, I'm looking at where he spent the most time besides catcher. And, yeah, it's third base, second base, and left field. Now, don't let the fielding stats worry you, Boston fans. When you're jumping around the diamond like that, especially as a really young kid, it's gonna affect your stats. The best thing that an organization can do if they're trying to have you switch positions is to just put you at one new position and have you work on it until you're really good at it, and then maybe you can go to another position. The thing is, though, at Houston, Connor Wong played a bunch of positions, so the Dodgers tried to carry that over, but he really doesn't play any of them that well. Now, granted, he's in the American League now, so his future may be as a DH, but you don't want that. You want the guy to be able to field a position. I don't think his future is a catcher. I really don't. I do think it's at second base. And that indicates to me that the Red Sox view Jeter Downs more as a shortstop, which I agree with them on, but it's going to tick me off to no end that the Red Sox will have a shortstop with the name of Jeter. It does bring up an interesting question of what do you do with Bogaerts, but you cross that bridge when you get there. He's not a great shortstop anyway. He's not terrible, but he's not great. He did play third his rookie year and his sophomore year in the majors, so you can put him at third. I don't mind that. But then what do you do with Chavis? Maybe you put Chavis at first. A lot of moving parts to the future of the Red Sox. If you'll recall, another part of the Betts trade was that Kenta Maeda was going to go to the Twins. And that is still happening. And Brusdar Graterol is still being traded. He's just not going to the Red Sox. He's going to the Dodgers, which means if you're writing the Hollywood script, Graterol is going to be the closer for the Dodgers in Game 7 of the 2020 World Series, and he'll get the save against the Yankees. That's just how Hollywood would write the script. There's another element to the deal. Luke Raley is going back to the Dodgers. He was actually traded from the Dodgers to the Twins in the Brian Dozier deal, which really didn't work out for the Dodgers. But now they get to hit the undo button on that a little bit. Raley is really good defensively, and he has a really good bat. The thing that you don't like about him is that he got hurt last year, and he only played in 38 games last year. Look, the thing that you gotta, for lack of a better word, appreciate about the Dodgers is they're willing to take a chance on these really talented prospects with injury histories. Graterol, Tommy John surgery, they had no problem taking him. Luke Raley got hurt after they traded him. They had no problem taking him back. There is something to be said about that. I respect that. I respect the fact that they're not scared off by the injuries, and they see the talent that these kids have, and they're ready to try to harness it. I give them full credit for that. There's also another prospect, actually, going back to the Twins. So, the trade is Maeda, $10 million, and a prospect, God only knows who that is, going to the Twins for Graterol, Raley, and the 67th overall pick this year. Obviously, you really can't give it a final grade until you see who that other prospect is, but Maeda still makes a ton of sense for the Twins. He'll help solidify a rotation that doesn't have an ace, but has really good starters on it. I'd be very, very surprised if the Twins didn't come out ahead in this deal. The other element to this is that Jock Peterson going to the Angels actually fell through. For whatever reason, the Angels just got impatient and they were not willing to wait any longer. I don't know if this is just posturing by the Angels or if they're really content to move on, but they may be shooting themselves in the foot here. As it stands right now, the Angels in the outfield, pun intended, are tried to get through that without laughing. Justin Upton, Mike Trout, and Brian Goodwin. Upton wasn't going to be benched, so Goodwin would have been the odd man out for Peterson. All due respect to Goodwin, he's a solid player. I'm not knocking him, but Peterson's better. The Angels are making a playoff push here. I don't understand why you wouldn't just do the deal. Yeah, it took a little longer than it should have to get consummated, but you're also getting rotation depth in Ross Stripling, and Lord knows you needed it. I don't understand why you wouldn't just bite the bullet and make this go through. I'll tell you right now, the Dodgers need to find another taker for Peterson and Stripling. Do not go into spring training with them on your roster. It's going to create too much drama. You're going to have too much animosity there. And it's just going to be a headache for you. Trade them to the highest bidder. It's actually kind of funny. The Angels wanted to wait initially for this deal because Peterson had an arbitration hearing. So the Angels didn't want to argue for paying a guy less that they just traded for. There's no way that they would win that argument. They wanted to wait for the Dodgers to do the arbitration hearing. And of course they won it. I obviously was not in the hearing, it's an obvious statement of the year, but I can only imagine what the argument was. You're going to trade this guy? Yeah. Like, you're seriously going to trade this guy? Yes, we want to trade this guy. There's no possible way you can beat that, Jock. Sorry, verdict for the Dodgers. Yeah, that'd be the shortest arbitration hearing ever. You remember how the Padres were the second horse in the Mookie Betts race? Well, they didn't want to be left out of the party when it came to trades. So they made a pretty big one. And I understand that it's not as big as the Betts trade, but it's a trade that really helps them for the future. They acquired Emilio Pagan from the Rays for Manuel Margot and Logan Driscoll. First up for the Padres, let me just say this is an instant win. Kirby Yates is one of the most underrated players in baseball. He's one of the 10 best closers in baseball. No one talks about him. And Emilio Pagan is now his 8th inning guy. That's a lethal duo. And the way that baseball is going, with shortening games, ooh, man, the Padres are going to be tough to beat when they have a lead going into the 8th. No, let me rephrase the 7th inning. They have Andres Munoz, who's not going to be their 7th inning guy. He'd be an 8th inning guy on most teams. He's a fireballer, man. I love watching him play. They have Michel Baez, too, who's a fun player to watch. The Padres bullpen is set up for a really, really big year this year. As for the Rays, this one makes no sense. Manuel Margot is not a good player. He had a ton of talent. He was a consensus top 20 prospect once upon a time. But he was never able to realize it. Look, he's a really good defender, and he has speed. That's undeniable. But the guy hit .234 last year. 12 homers, 37 ribbies. And he played a full season last year. He was not hurt. You've got to do better than that. And to make matters even weirder, they have Austin Meadows, they have Kiermaier, they traded for Randy Arozarena, who profiles at worse, and this is just worst case scenario, as basically the same thing as Margot. Why are you trading for him? It makes no sense. What, did you want a backup? Then just sign one. I understand it's the Rays and they don't have a lot of money, but backup outfielders grow on trees. I mean, I'm not asking them to sign Garrett Cole here. If you needed another outfielder that badly, just sign one. Minor league deal, invite to spring training, and it wouldn't break the bank. Now you've gotten instantly worse when you had an opening to make the wild card again. Good luck, Rays fans, with Nick Anderson as your closer. Nick Anderson is not a world beater out there. Now, he's not bad. He's a good pitcher. But this is a guy who only has 1 year under his belt and is now going to be the closer for a team looking to make the playoffs. That's a big ask. And Driscoll, look, Driscoll's a really smart player. He has incredible plate discipline for his age. He's 22 years old, and his plate discipline is Aaron Hicks-like. He has an incredibly muscular frame. He's got good power. His catching skills are there, they just need to be a little more refined. Look, I think Driscoll's going to be a good player in the majors. That's not the issue here. The issue is that the Tampa Bay Rays can't decide what they are. Every frickin' year, they never get any better. I understand that the Rays don't make money. I understand that no one goes to the games. But there comes a point when you've got to put a good product out there. Tell me one big free agent that the Rays were ever able to keep long term. What, Longoria? He was traded. They're going to trade Blake Snell at some point. Fine, they went out and signed Charlie Morton. Alright. Whoop-de-doo, that's one. You hear those sirens outside? Those are for the future of the Rays. It's on life support. My word, Matt Moore! They locked up Matt Moore long term. He didn't finish that deal with the Rays. Carl Crawford left. Rocco Baldelli left. I understand that Stu Sternberg is not the richest owner in the world, and he's doing the best he can. But there comes a point when you really do need to spend money. Alright, just either go all in and make a legitimate playoff push, or blow the whole thing up again. I just don't get this for the Rays. There is one college basketball game that I want to talk about, and that'll be it for this show. You will get a Brooklyn Nets show a little later, but I want to talk about FSU Duke, and I'll start with the road team. This is a very, very well-balanced FSU team. Their two best players, Devin Vassell and Trent Forrest, are really good offensive players. We all know that. But they're also really, really good defensively. Vassell averages a steal and a block per game, and Forrest averages 2 steals per game. Leonard Hamilton has done a fantastic job with this team and preaching defense. The hallmark of any Leonard Hamilton coach team. He's been doing this for an incredibly long time. They also have MJ Walker, who has had some injury concerns, but nothing to scare you too much. He will play tonight, and Lord knows the Seminoles are going to need it against Duke. MJ Walker's a really good three-point shooter. I like him to develop his mid-range game a little bit more and his slashing ability a little bit more, but you know what? If he's just Steve Novak in the next level, I don't mind that. They also have a few other really good defensive players worth mentioning in Patrick Williams, Raekwon Gray, and Anthony Polite. Like I said, they're a very well-balanced team. And when you look at Duke, they're not as well-balanced. And you saw it Saturday when they narrowly avoided a major, major upset against UNC. You know, there was a part of me that was rooting for UNC, just because I like chaos, and UNC beating Duke would have been utter chaos. But whatever. We all know what happened in that game. I'm not going to get back into it. Duke's offense is maybe the best in the nation. Vernon Carey, Trey Jones, Cassius Stanley, and Matthew Hurt. Any one of those guys can kill you. On any given night, it puts LSU's offense to shame. They're a team that's going to look to outscore you. They don't care if you put up 90. They're going to put up 100. That's how they're going to win this year. Last year was a very un-Duke-like team because they didn't shoot the ball well. This is an un-Duke-like team because they don't play defense. They just look to outshoot you. Now, their defense isn't terrible, but it's nothing to write home about. Vernon Carey's a really good shot blocker, and Trey Jones is really good at steals. But other than that, there's no one. I understand that Coach K has had to change up his approach because of how college basketball has gone from being a true place to develop players to just a one-and-done factory. But I'm not impressed with what he's done recently. I think that these teams have really not been constructed well. All due respect to Coach K. All in all, I think FSU is the more well-rounded team. Even though it's at Cameron, I'm going to go with the upset and pick the Seminoles. Brooklyn Nets show later today. It's going to be on 3 topics: the trade deadline, the New York Knicks, and can Kevin Durant actually come back this year? Tomorrow, I'm going to break down FSU Duke along with anything else in the world of sports. Until next time, I am Jacob Valk saying that every season has its peaks and valleys. What you have to try to eliminate is the Grand Canyon.